Our next presenter is Kim Flachmann. Kim earned a BA in English at Washington University in her hometown of St. Louis, and then went on to her first academic job, creating the developmental English program at Morton College in Chicago. 3 years later, she joined the English department at California State University-Bakersfield and has been teaching there ever since. She currently directs the writing program, which includes developmental, freshman composition, upper division comp, and the graduate teaching assistant program. She also coordinates the writing across the curriculum program on that campus. Her publications include numerous articles on reading, writing, and literature, a freshman composition reader for Pearson entitled The Prose Reader, and the developmental series Mosaics. In 1999, Kim was awarded the Cal State University-Bakersfield Outstanding Professor Award. She was chosen Rhetorician of the Year by the Young Rhetoricians Conference in 2007 and was honored by the California Association of Teachers of English with the Classroom Excellence Award for College Teaching in 2009. Her session this morning is entitled Facing the Future, Reading and Writing with Technology. Kim, are you ready to begin?
I am ready. Can you all hear me? I wish I could hear you.
Yay, you sound great, Kim.
Great. And can you see the screen okay, Amy?
Not yet. I think they're just switching it over right now. I see that it's coming online now. There we go.
Okay.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you for the introduction. Whoever is out there, thank you for attending. I wish I could see all of you, but I'm going to try to feel your responses through the computer, and then we will have time for questions later. To start off my presentation, I have just written a little paragraph that I want to read to you, and then I will go through my PowerPoint to explain to you what I mean. And here's just a little statement to help you understand where I'm coming from in this talk. Students are reading and writing now more than they ever have before. They send emails and text messages on a daily basis. They read and respond to blogs when they are interested in a topic. They interact with websites, and they start their own memes without any prompting whatsoever. Granted, these are usually not sustained instances of arguing and reasoning, but they are brief clips of thinking, decision-making, logic, and persuasion. In fact, many students at this point in their lives choose to write a quick text message or email rather than get involved in a long phone conversation. In most cases, however, these verbal, social skills do not transfer to their classroom performance. In fact, most current students would say they see no connection between their conversations with friends and their academic work. But what if we could provide that connection? What if we could bring their rushed, abbreviated communication skills into the classroom and build on them? Perhaps then we would really see some success in our students' reading and writing. And that's what I'm talking about today. What if we do reach out and start where they are instead of making fun of their phones, belittling their text message transfers, and responses like that? So here are some basic premises I'm working on. And after I explain these premises, I'm going to show you 3 examples of what I'm talking about, that we could reach out and start our teaching with where they are with the same approach and the same apparatus that we use with any essay or writing. First of all, as I said, our students are reading and writing more than they ever have before. They're surrounded by all forms of media, ads, music, videos, podcasts, ebooks. It goes on and on and on. This is their world, much more than we were exposed to when we went through school. Granted, these forms of communication are abbreviated and often superficial. Readers and writers need to work together to make meaning. I think we would all agree to that. Teaching students how to read and write as, sorry, I need to get Read and write. I couldn't read part of my PowerPoint. Whoops. Oh, it's telling me I'm leaving the webinar. Teaching students how to read and write as part of a continuous process is essential to their success in these two skills. Students will benefit from understanding the intricate relationship between reading and writing. Rhetorical modes are actually patterns of thought, and I would like to add this in at this point. Sorry, we're having a little screen trouble here. If we want our students to practice different ways of thinking, we can teach these rhetorical modes in different ways. And I'm talking about applying these to media as well as to essays. Amy, are we back on? I want to make sure people can hear.
Hey, Kim. Yeah, we could hear you just fine. Is there a way that you can just drag the little thing that says leaving webinar and just take it off of the slide?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Perfect. Yep. And just start up the slideshow.
Okay.
There we go. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Boy, that's a persistent little thing. Okay. So I'm talking about the same patterns of thought, the rhetorical modes that we use to teach essays, applying those to media. If we want our students to practice different ways of thinking, Aristotle said every single thought we have falls in one of the rhetorical modes: description, narration, process analysis, division classification. We can teach these rhetorical modes in different ways. So why not start with our students' genuine interest, what they're doing every day of their lives, and build a bridge for them through composition class to academic prose. Students need to progress from literal to analytical thinking. No matter what we do in the composition class, we know we have to do that, through literal and interpretive to analytical. No matter what form of communication we use as a vehicle, we can teach analytical or critical thinking. Critical thinking is an essential component of succeeding in college, and that responsibility falls on us in the composition class. We all know that. We all try to teach critical thinking every single day of our lives in the composition class. But what about using different vehicles for getting there? So here's one vehicle. I, of course, couldn't print the whole essay on the screen, but this is the source right here, msnbc.msn.com, and you could just put in the title. You could just search what evolutionary psychology says about social networking. It's just a wonderful article. It brings social networking into the classroom. You can talk about it right away and kind of start at the same place your students are, instead of setting up an adversarial relationship at the beginning with their technology interests. So there's an essay, and here's a typical way to teach an essay. We start with pre-reading, and you all know this technique. This is not unusual. It's just how I'm applying it that's unusual. This essay is about why this generation is so hooked on social networking, what it does for them, and it's a wonderful psychology essay, not lightweight at all. So these pre-reading questions ask things like, how many friends do you have? Why do so many people socialize on the internet? Do you enjoy hearing stories about other people's lives? because you really have to be on Facebook every day. And let's say you took the traditional approach of even printing an autobiography. So you have a biography of Michael Rogers, who wrote this essay. And we're still in a traditional way of going through composition. This is really a biography of Michael Rogers. He calls himself a futurist in residence at the New York Times Company, and he writes articles on media and technology. Here's some vocabulary that students might have trouble with in this essay. And I'm demonstrating this just so you can see the same apparatus applied to pieces of media. So once they have read the essay and the students have wrestled with the vocabulary, they then have to start with some kind of basic questions. Do you understand? And again, you all have wonderful ways of getting there, I'm sure. But one of my points here is you can take any piece of media or prose and move students from literal to analytic understanding. And here are some basic questions that they need to understand before they can move to analysis. The research says students cannot answer analytical questions without moving through literal and interpretive understanding of their reading. So look how basic these are. In the first one, this essay focuses on both causes and effects. Write out the essay's thesis. Typical first question. What do you believe the author means when he says Facebook might become the new internet? What does the timeline of social networking sites tell us about our instinctive need to gossip? And then another quote. You get the point. This is just, have you read this? If you haven't, go back, look at it again. Of course, we would love our students to read things 2 and 3 and 4 times, but we need to give them a purpose for reading, not just say, read this 3 times and I'll see you on Monday. These questions give them a purpose to go back, look up things, make sure they understand the essay on a literal and interpretive level. Now look at these analytical questions. Based on the information in this essay, what is the relationship between evolutionary psychology and gossip? Whoa, whole new level. They have to put 2 pieces together and come up with some conclusions themselves. They have to do more than recite what the essay says. How are grooming and social networking related? According to Dunbar, understanding their place in the group hierarchy was extremely important to the primates. Is this process still important today? The students need to give their opinions here. Okay, typical way to teach an essay. These questions, and I want to demonstrate these even with media, what I'm calling rhetorical questions, ask the students to focus on how the author delivered the message. Were there any strategies in there that were worth noting? Is it mostly a logical piece, or does it rely on emotion? Are there any turns of phrase that are worth noting? So these questions bring out the author's delivery. And finally, what if, instead of plain old writing assignments, which are wonderful, and we have to get the students there 100% before they leave us in composition, but what if we threw in along the way an assignment that asked for a podcast, an assignment that asked for a website, a blog, or if you are absolutely set on the research, what if we approach research this way? Give them a website, an academic article, and an audio or video. Every time they read, give them something that relates to their reading. And these are hardcore, interesting things, not flighty, easy pieces. They're very difficult to understand. And here are the directions. Read and summarize the 3 resources below. I actually use this. Generate one specific question from each resource. Generate one question that focuses on cause-effect reasoning. Then answer one of your questions in a documented essay, consulting these and other sources as necessary. My students love this. That is an excellent research question, but they think they're getting to play along the way. They're on the internet. They're reading these sources and bringing in information from their laptops, and it's a lot of fun for them. So always, my resources are a website, an academic article, and an audio or video piece. And this happens to be YouTube, the business of social networks, and it's just a wonderful piece to go with this essay. And now I'd like to demonstrate a cartoon. So yeah, you all get the essay. Yeah, you could do that standard literal to analytic. The writing pieces were a little different from what you might do. But could we really do the same thing with a cartoon? I want to just leave this up for a second because this cartoon is wonderful. Read at your own risk bookstore. I don't know if you can see all this right below that. Warning. Reading has been known to cause thinking in humans. Oh my God, do you love that? Management not responsible for post-book feelings. And there is a URL here. I'm trying to get that out of the way so you can see it. At the bottom is a URL. Contents have not been pasteurized, homogenized, or sterilized. And at the door that you walk in right here, caution, words ahead. There's a lot going on in that cartoon. It's not one that you look at and laugh because a woman is walking with a purse. You have to read that cartoon to laugh. So, what if we use that cartoon in the same way that we taught the essay? Starting first of all with pre-reading. When did you read? Just now, again, this they see before. I just wanted to show you the piece we were analyzing. This, of course, they see before any reading or piece of media. When did you read your first entire book? If your students are like my students, some of my students never read an entire book ever, and we talk about that. What books and magazines have you read recently? Do you like to read? Why or why not? Again, author biography. Roz Chast is a fabulous cartoonist for a New Yorker. Why shouldn't they be exposed to her work just like they would be to Garrison Keillor? Vocabulary. My students might have trouble with a couple words in here and why they're applied to books, but pasteurized, sterilized, and homogenized, I defined for them. Then the literal question. What role does cause and effect reasoning play in this cartoon? What is the general tone of the cartoon? Which of the messages in this cartoon is most humorous to you? Very easy getting them into the reading questions. Now, take them to analysis. How do the signs on the windows explain the name of the bookstore? Whoa, okay, I got to put these things together. I've got to do some thinking. I've got to do some analysis. Anytime you ask a how or a why question, you're into analysis. Where do you imagine this storefront might be? A little different level of question than asking them to read something in the cartoon. In what ways are the signs in this cartoon similar to signs in other stores? And then what is the significance of the sign on the door, the one that said caution? Significance. That's a much higher level thinking, which they can do with any media, is my contention. Again, how does the artist, in this case, deliver the message? What do you like or dislike about the cartoonist artistic style? And 4 questions about the style. Projects different, but always ending with the research assignment. A script, in this case, a billboard, an essay or survey, and a research project based on a website, an academic article, and an audio-video piece. And again, the audio-video piece gets them to items they don't ordinarily listen to. But the resource is there. They like the internet. Get them to NPR. Have them react to something on a little higher level than they react to every day using the media that they are comfortable with. My last demonstration is with a graph. I do this with absolutely all forms of media. And this graph, you don't need to read. I couldn't get it any bigger, but you just need to see that there are words in this graph. There's an explanation of why oil prices are going up, 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 and they really have to read and understand the material here to answer the questions. Graphs are difficult reading. They're very difficult reading. Why not help our students with that literacy? By the way, literacy with graphs is in California. I don't know about other states. One of the standards for 12th grade. They have to be able to read graphs. This is the second page of the graph. So you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items the students have to read, look at the numbers, look at the pictures, look at the subgraphs, and then, sorry, pre-reading first. What do you know about the oil industry? What different types of power does oil generate? How do you personally rely? So they just kind of get into, oh, yeah, wait a minute, I'm an oil user. That's a huge part of my life. Maybe I should understand this. Author biography. This was promoted by Kinsey Global Institute. You can go to their website, by the way, and get this material. But again, this is treated, the production of this is treated like any piece of prose. Someone had to generate this. Someone had to make decisions when they used color, used layout, wrote the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 prompts. Vocabulary in here, OPEC and tar sands. I didn't know what tar sands were. Neither do my students. So even with a piece of media, I've got vocabulary for them. And then movement from the literal to the analytical with questions. This series of graphs tells a very complex story about the oil industry. Explain graphs 1 through 5 in your own words. That's a great question. I mean, that's a summary question based on a difficult piece of reading. Analytical questions. How can the world reduce its demand for oil? Explain the primary actions required based on the graphs provided here. Once economic growth returns, when will demand for oil catch up to supply? And the hint is look at graph 3 closely. What will make this happen? What does the number 4 billion, 15 million refer to in graph 5? They've got to look that up. Why could the world see a rapid spike in oil prices in the near future? Rhetorical questions ask what decisions the author, creator of this graph made to get to the final visual product. How does this visual layout of these graphs help you understand them? Again, even you reading this, you want to go back to the graph. You want to look at it. So each of these questions, no matter what the vehicle, no matter what the form of media, gets the students to go back to the reading, the selection, the piece of media, and try to figure it out a little more. By the time they answer any of the questions you would design, if you pull them further into analysis, it does not matter what they're looking at, because when they get out of school, They've got to respond to all these forms of media just like they do now. It will be part of their job. So why aren't we using these in the classroom? Projects for this one, creating a blog. And I just want to show you, these aren't just, oh, tra-la-la, I'll do this in 10 minutes. Find more information about world oil production and enter an existing internet conversation about oil. Exchange at least 5 posts with others on the site. Print your conversation for class discussion. If many of my students don't have computers at home, but we have the library where they have access to them, we have educational opportunities where they can get computers. If you're really worried about your students finding a computer for an assignment like this, you could assign this and do it together. But if they don't have a computer, they won't select the blog if you leave this open to them. YouTube video. Research one of the causes or effects associated with oil prices and create a brief YouTube production. I went to a workshop recently to figure out how to do YouTube. I mean, it's so easy. They even teach students how to do special effects in YouTube, not the stuff we see of, you know, a baby laughing for 5 hours on YouTube. But some advanced YouTube, some advanced video techniques, and I swear these come naturally to our students. I had to take a workshop. My students can do all this very naturally. They make grammar videos all the time and present them to the class, just second nature. And then, surprise, a graph or essay. Choose one of the predictions for 2012 in graph 6. Draw a hypothetical graph 7 and write an essay explaining the graph. As you can see, each one of these progressively gets them to more writing. And their research questions connects with these 3, a website, an academic article, and an audio video piece from history.com. Really, really nice segment. So this gets the students out on the internet, using it at a high level, extremely productively in your classroom. What do you think?
So Kim, this is Amy.
Yes.
You know, critics would say that that students use visuals to kind of escape from traditional literacies, or to escape from, you know, trying to acquire and work within traditional literacies. But your point is really that, you know, that meeting them in sort of the space of digital literacy would you say that it's providing a gateway or a kind of helping them cross the threshold into
I'd say a bridge. And
okay.
Of course, I'm moving them more and more and more to that research assignment at the end of the course. I have only 10 weeks, and I get them to there. Of course, they have to leave with better prose. But even the graphs, as I read in a couple of those assignments, even the graph assignments, they have to write summaries and explanations and essays. Mm-hmm. But they're going through something that they enjoy more, rather than dropping them in the hot boiling water in composition, starting with writing, which they think they don't do much of. My daughter's in college right now, and I asked her if she thought the amount she's writing in social networking was helping her schoolwork. Because they're writing a lot. They're thinking a lot. Let's use it. And she said, oh, that's not the same kind of writing. So she, coming from an English teacher household, doesn't even think that there's a connection. We've got to make a connection. I think we could get so much mileage out of that social networking.
I see. Yeah. So you're saying that, you know, this is something it's almost like they're learning without knowing that they're learning, and so
exactly.
I see. And do you find, what do you see about their level of engagement and their success in the class? I mean, do you notice just notice a really pronounced difference? Are they more enthusiastic and more engaged, or?
Much more enthusiastic and engaged, and no one comes without assignments. And when I just do the traditional, okay, the first essay is due next week, see you then. Of course, you know, even when I was doing straight essays, I built up to it. We did pre-writing, we did peer groups, on and on and on. I had people come without assignments. I never have people come without assignments now. They want to do these, and you are exactly right, Amy. I trick them into doing their homework, and they're thinking on higher levels. Then I pull the media away, and have them writing more and more and more at the end of the course.
That's really interesting, Kim. That's a you know, I think and some of the questions that we're getting are really more comments, just saying, you know, this is really very useful. I don't think, one commenter says, I don't think educators have a choice but to engage with internet media. And I think, but I think for a lot of people, there's been some confusion over, you know, how do I engage with them in that space without, you know, pandering to them, or in a way that's comfortable. And it seems like, you know, you're proposing a framework where you're just sort of meeting them at that far end of the bridge, and then bringing them into a space that's a lot more familiar for all of us, you know, writing summaries. And so it seems like a really helpful framework for instructors as well. It's less threatening than, you know, just throwing a bunch of stuff out there that we don't totally understand.
Exactly, and the faculty member can get the students to traditional prose as early as he or she wants. Mm-hmm. But to start a class at this level, there is a whole different level of engagement. There's also a whole different level of excitement and participation. I mean, not just engaging with the text, but wanting to come to class. My attendance has gone way up since I have used this method. You are so right to say that they don't even know they're doing writing. But they're also, I think we have an obligation to teach them to think critically about even the things around them. You know, to be voters, to be citizens, to be thinkers on a daily basis. I think we have to teach them how to get there. And if they think they're in an archaic class writing these essays, and then, phew, that's over, I can get back to my fun life where I don't think analytically, I think that's a mistake too. The person who wrote, I don't think we have a choice is wonderful. I mean, totally right, I think. But I still have colleagues who say, that's the student's world, my world's over here, and they have to come find me.
Well, I think your point about, you know, the fact that they, like all of us, are immersed in this video, visual, media-saturated culture, and it's our responsibility to promote literacy in that arena and to help them analyze in that arena as part of kind of our mission as educating an informed public citizenry is a really compelling one. So thanks for making that point, Kim. I agree with you 100%. There's a couple of kind of nuts and bolts questions here. Jorge Aznar is wondering, he says, I would like to try this out. How many class periods do you usually take from beginning to the day when the research project is turned in? Or how many weeks?
I usually, yeah, well, for a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, we're an hour and 20-minute session. And I use usually about 2 weeks on one of these packages, from pre-reading to seeing what they are reading. Is it a piece of media? Is it an ad? Is it a cartoon? Is it an essay? And that's the other thing. It's kind of like, surprise, and they never know. But and then all the post-reading stuff to the research. And they don't do research right away. They do one of those projects at the end. And I usually decide what it is. Sometimes I'll leave it up to them. But I introduce that research project about halfway through the course.
Okay. Darlene Proctor at Davidson County Community College has a question that's it's actually very similar to a question that came in from Sean Walker a few minutes ago. They're both thinking about how you compile your list of resources and how you find the media that you're using. Darlene is asking specifically, how long does it take for you to compile your list of resources for each assignment? It seems pretty comprehensive. With the number of media choices you're offering, how long does it take for you to gather those sources yourself?
Well, it essentially took an entire year. And this now, and you didn't hear it in my bio, but this now has turned into a book that is, from what I hear, I haven't seen it yet, but I hear it is out. It's called Nexus, and I did it for Pearson. But that's how this started. I just started working with media in the classroom, and it now is a book called Nexus, a rhetorical reader for writers.
I've seen that book, Kim. It's very nice. You haven't seen that book yet?
I haven't. No, I have not seen it. I would sure love to, but it's that new, which is why I didn't even know if it'd be out for this session. But it is, and it took me literally a year to put the stuff together because I didn't want the lightweight articles. I want them reading an academic article and summarizing it, writing a question, and finding ways that this website and article and video can inform a paper that they're going to write. So, yeah, I had to go and look at each of these. Craziness.
Well, and we're going to be able to, any of you that are looking for a copy of Kim's book, we'll make sure that you get a copy. You can email me. You can go to the Pearson Higher Ed catalog. You can just send in a question here if you want a copy of that. And you should know, too, that we're going to archive all of these sessions. So you'll be able to come back in and see Kim's PowerPoint and get her list of resources yourself. And I'm sure if you're in an emergency situation and you need this now, I'm sure Kim wouldn't mind if we shared some of these resources with you directly.
Oh, not at all.
Okay.
No, and you can write me and get whole chapters. Like if you want the whole, I mean, this kind of morphed into a cause and effect chapter. This is where I started, actually. My students love that cause effect, the CSI stuff, and this is where the book started. Amy, could I get on your list to get a copy since I haven't seen it yet?
Sure. I'll make some calls for you, Kim.
I'm sure it's on its way, but I'm so anxious to see it.
Well, yeah, we'll make sure you get a copy of your book, Kim. Well, we're starting to run short of time. We're getting tons of requests here from people that want a copy of your book in addition to you, Kim. And we're going to go ahead and get that book out to everyone that's writing in. And we'll forward any questions that come in after the session. We'll forward those to you, Kim. Do you have any closing remarks, or shall we let you get about your day in beautiful California?
I would just like to say that thank you so much for attending this session. I appreciate it. I feel your energy out there. I appreciate your attendance, and you are welcome to any of this material, and I will also write you with more if you, once Amy sends me your questions. So I would love to have an exchange with you. Thank you very much.
Kim, it was great. It's always so great to talk with you and to hear from you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Okay.
Thank you, Amy. Thanks for inviting me. Bye-bye.
Certainly. Bye-bye. Okay, everyone, we'll take a short break before we come back for our 12 o'clock Eastern session with Christine Holt.